Hi all, Steve here in Thailand with a bit of a rant. I'll try and keep this video as short as possible. There's 3 or 4 main points that I want to make. I came across this news story on my Facebook feed this morning, and I'll just quickly show you the headline just like that. And the main thing I want to show you, if you can see that, there's a photograph there. Basically what happened was there were these houses that were illegally built in I think it's a national park. It's Forest at Doi Suthep in northern Thailand, in Chiang Mai area in northern Thailand. These houses were built totally illegally in a forest. I'm not sure whether it's a national park, but anyway, it's a forest, state forest and so forth, state land. And the houses were built for judges, you know, the typical elite, sort of rich elite judges, or the elite in Thailand. So these houses were built illegally. Now, to cut a long story short, I'm trying to summarise to make this video as short as possible. It suddenly became news. Once this whole project was finished, the forest was cut down, the houses were built, it suddenly became big news in Thailand. The rich elite judges getting these illegal houses, and local people came out to complain and protest, and all the activists came out of the woodwork and so forth. Okay. Now, first of all, the first point I want to make is this is what Thailand's all about. That's what Thailand's all about. Illegal things, and they're going to get away with it. The rich, elite and powerful in Thailand will get away with it, because the point of this news story is that the government, after saying they will demolish the houses, are now saying it's illegal to demolish illegal houses because it was built for the government and there's no law that covers it. I won't go into details. It's a total joke and an example of what Thailand is all about. The rich, the elite, these judges, why they couldn't build these houses for these judges in the town or city or something, why they had to cut down all this forest so they can just get their big houses on a big hillside with a nice view. It's a total joke. Okay, I've made my point about that. I want to go on and still make my few points. Now, yes, that's a bad thing about Thailand. All the naive people in Thailand are now going on about the rich elite, get away with it. But there's more to this story, and I'll quickly make my points here. Sorry about that, I can't edit these videos, and the fan blew away my notes there. Now the same thing happens to, there was a situation where Mr. Premchai, who was a billionaire tycoon, went illegal poaching in a forest in Kanchanaburi, and he killed a black panther, a rare black panther, and a few other animals. There was a pheasant and a deer, I think, but the black panther has captured all the attention. Okay, and that's an example as well. He's going to get away with it as well. Charges have been dropped. Okay. He's still up against some charges. We'll see what happens. He'll probably get a slap on the wrist and a fine or something and get away with it. Okay, the rich and powerful, that's what happens in Thailand. These houses and the recent example of that illegal poacher, Mr. Premchai, are 2 good examples of what Thailand's about. But the real point that I want to make here is, why did this become news, these houses, after it was constructed? That's the question mark. All the forest was cut down, the houses were built, and it suddenly makes big news in the media. I'll tell you why. Because the local people were involved in building this thing. And this is where the bit of hypocrisy from Thai people comes into it now. And people aren't talking about this, but I'm going to talk about it, even if it's a bit controversial. Who built these houses? Who cut down the trees and cleared the forest? It must have been the so-called local people. There must have been hundreds, if not thousands of local people, the same local people apparently protesting these houses, who must have been involved in building these houses. Builders, plumbers, electricians, guys with chainsaws cutting trees down, guys with trucks, you know, all business people trying to make a living, trying to feed their family. And why didn't anyone raise the alarm? Oh, hang on, what are we doing here? This is illegal. because they've got a job, they're making money. All these builders, truck drivers, guys with chainsaws cutting down trees and clearing the land and hauling away logs, the trees cut down. Who profited from those trees that were cut down as well? All the local building suppliers and so forth, the subcontractors. There must have been maybe hundreds or if not thousands of local people involved in building this housing estate, and no one raised the alarm, no one cared, because they all had a job and all had money to feed their families. That's the fact, and that's the hypocrisy here. The same thing goes for Mr. Premchai and the Black Panther that was killed. Now there's a bit of hypocrisy here, because I'd like to know what type people are actually complaining about. Is the fact that a forest, trees have been cut down, because this happens all over Thailand. Local people building illegal resorts all over the place, cutting trees down, because they want to make businesses, resorts, restaurants at nice lookouts and dams and waterways and so forth, making business, because this happens all over Thailand. Are Thai people concerned that trees have been cut down, or a Black Panther was killed, and concerned about animal rights, or are they mainly complaining that it's elite people getting away with it? That's my question mark. You know, how much of this is about the environment and animal rights, and how much of it is actually because it's elite people, the rich, this class war that happens in Thailand, the elite, rich, powerful people getting away with things, can do what they want, the law doesn't apply to them and so forth. So that's what Thai people are actually complaining about? Or are they concerned about some forest being cut down or some animals being killed? That's my main question mark here. The thing about also Mr. Premchai is, you know, I don't doubt there are Thai people concerned about animals being killed and a Black Panther, but how much of it again is a rich person will get away with the fact that it's a rich tycoon and an elite person with connections and so forth getting away with it? Because the other thing is, animal rights in Thailand are pretty piss poor. So that's my question mark. Now, you look at Thailand, I've seen it in the country. If you go to the country, there are markets and so forth selling, they sell everything. They collect, you know, lizards, frogs, snakes, turtles, birds, you name it. Thai people eat it. In the country especially, markets are full of these products. Now look, I'm not equating, you know, rats and rats as well, frogs, lizards and snakes to like a beautiful Black Panther, but where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the animal rights line? People are up in arms about a Black Panther being killed by an elite person, but animal rights are pretty piss poor. You know, Thai people are collecting, you know, big pythons, not just small snakes, but you see markets in Thailand with big pythons still alive, excuse me, still alive, being dragged into a market to be sold as food, as meat, as snake meat that people eat. I mean, why don't animal rights apply? Who's to say that a big python isn't as worthy to save as a Black Panther? Animal rights, even elephants. You look at elephants in shows, elephants are dancing and playing football and so forth. I'm not saying elephants are mistreated, they're looked after well, but still Western people may look at, you know, elephants being forced to dance and so forth as, you know, animal rights. I mean, there are stray cats and dogs all over every town and city in Thailand, so animal rights are a bit piss poor. I'm glad Thai people are complaining about a Black Panther being killed, but are they really complaining the fact that it was a rich, elite person that did the killing? That's my point. The same thing goes for this housing complex. It really surprises me that the local people, you know, local people just happen to come out and protest once it's all finished. Did anyone raise the alarm or complain while they were cutting down the forest, while they were building the houses? Because the local people, they were jobs, they were feeding their family, it was just a job for them. They didn't care about cutting down forest and building illegal houses because it was just a job. That's my main issue that I wanted to say in this video. I'm sorry it's a rant against Thai people, but I just want to raise the alarm that there seems to be a bit of hypocrisy here. There's two things. One, the elite people getting away with the law, and that does happen. There are rich people who run people over, kill people, get away with it. People, they're bailed and just get away with all sorts of crime. They've got the money to flee overseas and so forth, like the former prime ministers and so forth. The billionaire Red Bull, the son of the Red Bull founder, billionaire, ran a policeman over, and he still hasn't been brought to justice. He's escaped overseas or something. This housing estate and that Black Panther that was killed by Mr. Premchai, all elite people get away with it. But the second point that I want to make, which I have made, I'll wrap it up now, is how the bit of hypocrisy amongst Thai people. Do Thai people complain about animal rights and a forest being cut down, or is it mainly the elite people doing these things and getting that class war thing that happens in Thailand? Oh, the rich and elite are getting away with it again. So that's my main issue, the bit of hypocrisy there. And also animal rights. Animal rights are piss poor in Thailand. A Black Panther gets the news, but look, take a good look at yourselves, Thailand, and animal rights. Don't just complain about a Black Panther. There's a lot more to it. So that's it. This video has gone for too long. A bit of a rant. I hope I've made my point. I hope that makes sense. What do you think? And I'll see you next time.